Hey everyone, how's it going? It's Elo, and I'm really excited to be here with you today celebrating 5,000 subscribers. So I figured for this milestone, I would sort of connect with you guys a bit and host a Q&A video. I thought a lot about doing this live, but it's just really hard to even think of when I would do that because there's always noise around here, especially dogs barking, and I can't really predict sometimes when that's going to happen. So I decided just to do this regular video style, but I have all of your questions here, and I'm so happy. Like, these were amazing questions, and I really am looking forward to answering them. My answers might not be perfectly concise for every question, and some of the questions were very similar, so I sort of grouped them together. But hopefully I will be able to answer everyone's questions within this one video. And thank you all so much. If you were some of the people who asked me questions, I really appreciate that. And you guys did, like I said, an awesome job. These are really cool questions. So I am feeling really comfortable, and I hope that you are too. If you're not, please get comfortable and learn a little bit more about me, I guess. So the first question was, where are you from and what do you do for a living? Initially, I'm from Connecticut, but I live in the South now, and I have for, I guess, a little more than half of my life now. What do I do for a living? I don't actually have a career or profession at this point. I'm a waitress, and I also tutor, so I have jobs technically, and I make my own way. You know, I pay for all my own things and make my own money, but I can't say that I'm a chef or a teacher or a scientist or anything at this very moment. And I do think, or I do know that eventually I'll have more of like a career in some way, but I really want to make music. That's my main passion in life, and I'm working on that right now. And I just know that I couldn't hold an 8 to 5 job Monday through Friday and also put as much time into music as I want to. So what I do right now is sort of a means to an end, and I'm planning on giving music a full shot before I give up on it, because you only have one opportunity to try the things that you actually care about and want to do in this life. So, not to sound like Eminem, but my plan is to pursue music, and if for some reason that doesn't pan out, if for some reason that doesn't pan out, I would probably become a licensed professional counselor, work as a therapist. When was the time you had to be brave? I think one of the first things that comes to my mind, I don't know if this is silly or not, but is a talent show that I had to do, or not had to do, but that I ended up doing in high school. In 10th grade, I went to a school where I really didn't fit in, and I had sort of a lot of bullies, I guess, at the school, and I ended up singing in this talent show. I sang Killing Me Softly, which was originally by Roberta Flack, I think, but I sang the Lauryn Hill version, and it was absolutely terrifying to be on stage by myself in front of kids I went to school with, people who bullied me, people who just ignored me or treated me poorly, and all of their friends and family who were also there to, see the talent show, because the school was really small. It was a private school and everyone knew each other. So I was really an outsider because I was like from the north and I didn't know anyone and I wasn't related to anyone, and everyone else was sort of in their own clique. And getting up on that stage was probably one of the most terrifying things that I've ever done in my life. I actually started singing like 4 measures too late. I let a whole like loop of the music go because I was just like blacked out. But it ended up fine. Okay, like getting anxiety just talking about that. Okay. If magic was real, what spell would you try to learn first? I think the first thing that comes to mind is that I would want to be an animagus. But I know that it's really, really hard to become an animagus, and it's not like a spell you can just, practice under your covers at night like some of the ones in the movie. There's like, if I remember right, there's like a whole potion and you have to like keep a leaf in your mouth for like a month or something, and there's like all this crazy prerequisite stuff to becoming an animagus. And the other thing is that you don't actually get to pick what animal you become. It's like based on your personality traits, kind of like a Patronus. So I don't know, I feel pretty strongly that I would become a dog, because I feel like I'm very dog-like in a lot of my ways, I guess. Like, I can just stare out and look at nature for the longest time and be happy, and I like attention, and I like to eat, and I like to go on walks, and I'm pretty chill. So I don't know, I think it would be really cool if I could become a dog and be able to play with my dog. And my dog also has like temper issues, so it would be cool, that just like sparks me to think that it would be cool to be able to work like sort of as a rehabilitation dog for other dogs, even though I'd be a person technically. I would love to like help rescue sad and scared dogs. So I would say the first spell I would learn would be, no matter how complicated, animagus, if I could become a dog. But if I wouldn't become a dog, I would probably just learn something that would help me in my day-to-day life, like maybe Accio, so that I could bring things to me without moving. Something practical. What kinds of things do you like to cook or are good at cooking? I actually love cooking. I think it's a lot of fun. I love to like test different spices and stuff and slightly modify recipes. I've never invented something from scratch really, except for like junk food combinations, but I've never actually made something without a recipe from scratch like that. So I've learned everything through reading, but I do tend to, like I said, modify the recipes that I find. Some of my favorite things that I make, there's a salad. It's called a burrito bowl, but it's really like a salad, and it has black beans and tomatoes and chicken and all kinds of delicious stuff. Sometimes I put corn in it, and then it has a really, really good peanut butter based or really almond butter based dressing. That's kind of spicy. It's delicious. I could eat that pretty much for every meal, any day. I also make a spinach lasagna that I think is really good. My chicken tortilla soup is one of my favorite things that I make. I made it once already this season, and like just talking about it, I think I'm gonna make it again maybe next week. It's so good. And I cook a lot. I can cook a lot of different pastas too, because I don't know, pasta was a pretty big thing growing up for me. Where we live, that was like a big part of our diet. So I don't eat as much pasta now because I know it's unhealthy for you. But growing up, it wasn't uncommon to have a dinner that consisted of like pasta and corn and bread or something. What do you think is the weirdest thing about modern life that people just accept as normal? It's such a good question. This might sound really basic or like oversimplified, definitely oversimplified, but bad laws really confuse me. Like, I don't understand. We have all of these different things in our society that we just kind of like let go the way that they go because that's the law. And I just think that laws have definitely become outdated. Like, society changes, and it has changed a lot, and what we know has changed also, and our morals and ethics have changed. So I think that we should more frequently update our laws to reflect common sense values that we have science and reason behind, rather than having so many silly or like outdated laws. Just the process of changing them, and the fact that we as members of the society, we don't intervene. Like, even if we think we know better in our heart, we don't go against the law. Like, we could so easily uprise as a united people against state and federal laws and create a better planet and a better country and better homes for so many sad situations in our country and around the world. Like, we have the means to change so much, and we don't, for like the most petty and ridiculous reasons. And largely because of money too. Like, the amount that we are corrupt and greedy, it blows my mind that we all just like say, yeah, but that's the way it is. I'll never understand that. And the only other thing I guess that comes to mind is like traffic laws. Like, sometimes I feel really silly when I'm just like sitting at a stoplight, like waiting for everyone to go. It just seems so strange to me that we all agree on these rules of how to get from point A to point B. It's like you can't go the way that you want to go. You have to take a certain way in a certain style. That's just weird to me. Let's see. What is your favorite book of all time? I think someone else asked me, like, what are my 5 favorite books I read too. So I just wrote down like some of my all-time favorite books, and I don't know that I would consider all of these like a favorite book right now at this point in my life, but at some point in my life, each of these books was my favorite book. So they're like my MVP list, I guess. So they are Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston, Not Wanted on the Voyage by Timothy Findley, Lost Souls by Poppy Z. Bright, Sula by Toni Morrison, Frankenstein by Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley, Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf, Salvage the Bones by Jesmyn Ward, Jane of Proudmoore, Tides of War by Christy Golden, The Well of Eternity by Richard Knack, and then 2 series that I would add to that are the Harry Potter series and the, I guess it's called the Alphabet series by Sue Grafton, which follows a private detective named Kinsey Malone through a series of cases and kind of just her life, and that's like probably my all-time favorite book series. And unfortunately, just recently we lost Sue. She had cancer and it was really sad, and she was 1 book away from finishing the series. She wrote A through Y and never got to finish Z, so that was a really, really hard blow for me and the other readership community members. My daughter is also autistic. What advice would you give me that might help me be a better parent to her? That's hard. I guess I have a lot of things that come to mind, but everyone's different, you know. Just because 2 people are autistic doesn't mean they're gonna be exactly the same on everything, just like 2 left-handed people might not be. But I will say that I think it would be a universal thing to just be cognizant of the fact that we have processing delays, so we might not always understand the severity or meaning or even happiness of a situation or communication exchange until long after the fact. And I think in every way, or in some way I should say, everyone, not everyone is always in touch with their feelings all of the time, but I would just allow for the fact that it's going to take even longer sometimes to really make sense of certain things and contextualize them, process them, and be able to reply to them, especially pressuring someone who is like us makes things really way worse and will only make the person being pressured feel bad about themselves. So just a lot of patience, I guess, and love, you know, and acceptance for the fact that things just aren't maybe going to be what you expect in a lot of ways. But that's okay too. I mean, there's so much value in being like us too. Differences, sure, and is society really like built for people with disabilities and differences? No, but that doesn't mean that we can't function in society in our own way, and that doesn't mean that what we do have to offer is less important. I would argue that it's even more important because we're capable of specialized, highly focused, intellectually straining tasks that not everyone can accomplish. So we're almost like a specialist class. If people were to have different roles in society, I feel like people who are like us can do some things that other people can't. That's cool, you know? We can't do everything everyone else can do, but we can do things that are unique to us too. And that's special and good, and brings value to life. Just encourage her, I would say, towards whatever her strengths are. Even if they seem weird or off base, we'll always be the best in our proper element and environment. What do you like to do for fun? Do you have any hobbies? I love to sing, as I said. I play the piano. Video games are, most people can tell just by looking at my channel, but yeah, video games are also a big part of my life and have been since I was a child. Currently I play a lot of Overwatch. I'm not amazing at it, and if you play Overwatch, you may have flamed at me before for making mistakes. I'm only in gold. I got like 100 points away from being platinum this past season, and I'm also proud, or I guess glad to say, that I've been getting increasingly better. Like when I first started playing, I was just playing very casually, so I didn't ever play competitive, and I didn't really know any of the strategies or anything like that, and I just didn't have the time or the energy to really learn. But once I started really putting time into it and trying to be better, I've progressed. I like started off in bronze, which is like the lowest level that you can be, and I worked my way up to silver and now into gold, and I've almost hit platinum, and I feel like I can hit platinum if I really keep putting the effort in. So it was actually really hard for me to start playing so much Overwatch because I was used to playing World of Warcraft, which I'm really good at, or I was really good at. I don't know what's going on now, so I'd be garbage, but and I'm not as good at Overwatch. It's taking me a lot of practice, so it definitely hit me hard to be like the weak link on the team. It doesn't feel good, and getting yelled at by strangers and having people tell you every day that you should like kill yourself and that you suck and that you should never play the game again, just for like making a simple mistake or learning something new, really doesn't feel good. So I actually haven't been going into voice chat lately, even though I know that communication is really critical to the game. I wasn't able to get to the level that I'm at right now in ranking until I stopped going into voice chat and listening to people yell. I just can't listen to them talk and pay attention to the game at the same time. That wasn't even close to the question. You were asking what I do for fun and do I have any hobbies, but I'm an ass-bee, so I tend to over-explain things. Any other hobbies or anything? I mean, I love organizing stuff. I frequently rearrange and reorganize different little areas of my house, and I've done that ever since I was a little kid. I used to shut my bedroom door and like move around all the furniture, reorganize everything, clean everything. I really like to clean things. I sound like such a loser. I really like to clean things, so I get a lot of satisfaction out of things being clean and tidy, and it just makes me feel better on the inside. So I tend to try to keep things very much in their place, I guess, and clean. Do I experience ASMR? Yes, I do. And when was the first time I experienced it? That would be when I was young. I don't know exactly how old, but my very first doctor that I went to, his name was Dr. Neff. I'm sure he's passed away by now because he was absolutely ancient when I was a kid. And I'm pretty sure he was like my pediatrician for me and all of my brothers. And I don't have a lot of memories from being that young, but everything about Dr. Neff's office was triggering for me. It was in this brick building. In that building, it was very dark when you went in, even if it was very bright outside. And his office was the first door in to the left, but there were all kinds of offices in there. It wasn't just a doctor's office. And there was a large woman who sat at the front desk as the receptionist. And I can't remember her name, but she was always typing away, I believe on the typewriter at the time when I was a kid. And she had all kinds of files and manila folders behind her in the shelves, which were the patient histories and records, and she knew where all of them were, and she kept good care of them. And it smelled so strongly of, I don't even know what ointment, or it was not quite a sterile smell, but it was definitely like a medicated smell. But I found it really, really soothing and relaxing and comforting. It was definitely like a warm smell, I guess, if that makes sense, like very comforting. And I can remember in the little rooms, the checkup rooms, the paper is what would really get me too. He would roll out a brand new piece of that doctor's waxed paper across the padded cushion where I would lay or sit, and just hearing that whoosh and the crinkling as he would lay it out, and then how it would sound under me when I was laying down or sitting, and then having him have the stethoscope and be listening to me breathing. And he was very old, you know, so he kind of had a heavier breathing pattern, I guess. Like his breaths were loud. And that's another thing that I think is triggering for me. So just that whole experience of visiting his office, and it was very, very, very relaxing. And I always just felt very comfortable around him. So he was a gentle person. What motivated you to produce your own ASMR content? Are you open to making experimental content, or possibly something beyond the scope of ASMR, such as meditation or Reiki? I was motivated to create my own content just because I thought I could do it. I felt like, man, how relaxing would that be, and how comforting, and what a good way to connect with people. That's something that I don't get to do at that time in my life, and for a lot of my life it's been hard for me to connect with people, and this just seemed like something I understood, and I felt like I can do this, and I understand this, and I really feel this, and it means something to me. So maybe it would be worth it for me to try to share what I feel with other people. And I would be open to making other content. I think meditation would be up my alley. I've also really toyed a lot with the idea of sort of advice giving or answering people's questions. Are you very interested in history? Is there any one person of any time period you look up to or wish you could be? I'm not actually very interested in history. I've tried to be, and I even took an AP history course in high school, which did not go well. I love fiction, and I just can't get into the realistic stories. I think it's because, partially at least, because I'm very empathetic, and even when I'm reading fiction, which I know is fiction, it can still make me cry and feel a lot of intense emotions, like any good book can. And when I'm reading history, some of it just, I guess, is disturbing to me to know that these things are happening, and it gets very frustrating very fast for me to not understand why things aren't changing. And I also just don't really get into autobiographies. I don't care what someone's favorite pen or color shirt was or where they vacationed. I just don't have any emotional reservoir in my body for that kind of stuff for whatever reason. That being said, I definitely respect the hell out of people who study history and learn it and can predict future issues because of it. I mean, I think that the value of history is astronomical. I'm not the person on this planet to do something with it, unfortunately. But I can't be good at everything or be interested in everything, right? So, and as far as any one person goes too, I mean, I think I would have to say no to both of those questions. I don't really look up to or wish I could be anyone else, because you just don't know what another person's demons are, I think. If I've learned something in this life, I don't really have any way of knowing that the person that I'm looking up to or wanting to be, are they really a good person? I don't know. I wouldn't want to become someone else only to learn that they have a lot of issues that I don't know about. I mean, at least with myself, I know myself. I'm already aware of my own problems and things that I would need to better, and things that would keep me up at night, and I don't have that much. I mean, I feel like I've lived my life as a pretty good person, and I've made some mistakes, but I've learned from them, and I feel good about who I am now for whatever I may have done in the past. I like who I am now, so I wouldn't want to risk losing that. Okay, what is your favorite book to movie or book to TV adaptation? That would be this gem right here, which I grabbed when I saw this question, when I was glancing them over. This is The 10th Kingdom, and I read this book in the 8th grade, and it was a big book, fantasy obviously, and I was so thrilled to learn that there was a movie, and it wasn't just any movie, it was 4 VHSs that I had to check out from the library. That's a lot of movie time, which told me that the movie was going to reflect the book well, and it really did. They did not leave pretty much anything out. Trying to remember how long. The feature running time is 417 minutes, and I can't do math. You want to hear me try to think this out? Okay. There's 60 minutes in an hour. 60 plus 60 is 120. That's 2 hours. 120 plus 120 is 240. That's 4 hours. 240 plus 240 would be 480. Would be 6 hours, right? So it's less than 6 hours, maybe more than 5 hours. I don't know. You get my point. It's a long, long movie. And I think that they did such an amazing job with it. The actors and actresses in it are Anne Margaret, Scott Cohen, Rutger Hauer, I don't know how to say his name, John LaRoquette, Cameron Manheim, Ed O'Neill, Diane Wiest, I think that actually says Wiest, and Kimberly Williams. And it was definitely the best done, in my opinion, of all the adaptations I've seen. What's something you're interested in learning about that you'd never taken the time to before? Man, there's just so much stuff. It just started raining. I really love learning languages, and I've always wanted to learn an Asian language just because I think it's a lot different from the languages that I've already learned. I'm not sure. What else? Glass blowing, woodworking. I would love to be able to make furniture. That would be super cool and super useful. What does the word love mean to you? That's hard. That's really hard. There are a lot of different ways I think you can mean love. I think it's a really difficult word to define personally, and maybe someone else has it figured out. But I think love in the general sense has a lot of meanings, but if you mean what do I think it means to love somebody like as a soulmate in that romantic sense, I think that would translate to when you love someone, that person is someone that you would choose over everyone else, and that you want to have in your life and share happy, sad, and everything in between moments with, forever. Someone that you can tell your secrets to and know that they would never betray you. Someone you can really trust. I don't think you can love someone without being able to trust them in a romantic sense. Yeah, I guess just if it's a romantic soulmate type love, I think you'd essentially do anything for that person. That's how I live it, I guess, is what I would say. Like, I want my love of my life to be a situation where I feel confident that that person would do just as much for me as I would do for them. That equality of meaning well for the other person and just wanting to see them feel good and happy and live a life that feels magical, and wanting to help bring that to that other person's world, I guess. I don't know. Did you go to college? Where, if so? Okay, this has a lot of follow-up questions, so I'll start with that. I did go to college and I completed it. I have my bachelor's degree in English with a creative writing like specialization, I guess, because I was a poetry study. And I went to 2 different colleges. I actually did like a cycle, which my life tends to do that a lot. I started off at a university in Georgia where I was living, and then when I moved to Virginia, I went to school at the University of Mary Washington, which I absolutely loved, and I wish so badly that I could have finished my education there and been an alumnus of UMW because I really, really loved that school. But unfortunately, I ended up coming back to Georgia, and I finished my college career at the same school I started at, actually. I graduated magna cum laude, I think it was. It's the second highest one, whatever that is, because I had a geology course that I took my freshman year, and like I just could not get these rock formations right in my head. I really couldn't do it, and I wasn't using any disability resources at the time. I was just trying to like power through it myself, which was stupid, and I got a C in that class, and that was, I think, the only C that I made like ever, and it ended up really screwing up my GPA because when I was at the University of Mary Washington, I had like a 3.9, and then transferring back to the school I came from, their GPA counted twice, but all my transfer credits only counted once. I don't know what the heck was up with that system, but unfortunately that C cost me, and I ended up missing the Summa, I think, the like #1 top percentage of your class by literally 0.1, which broke my heart, but whatever, it's over and done now. Favorite food, cookies. Favorite color, purple. Have you traveled outside of the USA? No. Favorite vacation spot, Cape Cod. What kind of music do you like? All kinds except country. I listen to a lot of metal. I'll just tell you some of my favorite bands, I guess, in no specific order. Modest Mouse, Tame Impala, Iron and Wine, Churches, Block Party, Interpol, Chance the Rapper, Outkast, The Doors. I love 70s music, like disco. I love all of it. I love to sing along with it. I love to dance to it. I like Big Sean, J. Cole, Lil Wayne. I've always loved Lil Wayne. I feel like he's kind of, like, you can tell that he's older now. Not in even his voice, but just his sound just hasn't evolved into something that I feel like is really modern. But he's kind of just like a classic icon for someone in my age group, I think. Let me see. Mac DeMarco, Beach House, Miami Horror, Two-Door Cinema Club, Whitechapel, Atreyu, Death Cab for Cutie I used to like a lot, the Postal Service, pretty much everything on Warped Tour I've listened to, the Black Dahlia Murder, Dance Gavin Dance is one of my favorite metal bands. I don't know, I like a lot. I really do. And I like some pop music sometimes. Just depends. But my favorite Pandora station is definitely Chance the Rapper Radio. I also listen to a lot of Outcast Radio and Churches Radio and Interpol Radio. And yeah, that's all I can really think right now, I guess. I also really like Cardi B. I think she has like a really good sound, and I know that there's a lot of speculation about whether or not she is legit or whatever, but like she's the one who's making those sounds with her mouth, and it sounds dope the way that it is. So I don't know who can argue that point. She's the one that's making it the way that it is. So even if she's not writing it, I don't really care. I think she sounds good saying what she's saying. But yeah, I like a lot of rap and metal mainly. Did you watch your interview with GP? Hi GP. I was so nervous during this interview that I couldn't even really remember what happened, so I did go back and watch like probably half of it just to see how poorly I did. It actually wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Yeah. How much would I have to pay you to whisper me a bedtime story? I guess that depends on the story. Could be free. You never know. Where are you from? / where did you grow up? And a different where are you now? I kind of already answered this a little bit. I'm from Connecticut. I spent a lot of time in Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts growing up because we were really close to New York and Massachusetts. Connecticut's a very small state, so it has a lot of access to neighboring states, and a lot of my family members, and especially my extended family members, live in New York and Massachusetts. So I'm definitely a New Englander from birth, but now I live in the Southeast, and I used to hate it here, but I've actually really grown accustomed to where I live now. I think the city I live in is really progressive for this area, and I'm really proud to live here and be a resident here. What is your biggest ASMR trigger? I think one of them would definitely have to be tapping with nails like this on like my car steering wheel, as I've had little videos of on Instagram and Twitter, and I'm actually planning on filming a longer video, a little bit talking about my car and also featuring that kind of tapping very soon. So that's definitely one of my favorite and biggest triggers. Aside from that, light exams, like eye light exams, I really like. They make me very, very sleepy. A good accent. One of my favorite ASMR artists, her accent is really what like makes it for me, because it has a lot of very delicate sounds, and also probably some like crinkling sound, or like tapping on those jewels or something like that. Other ASMR artists that I like to watch. Okay, so the one I was just talking about is Cute Bunny 992. She is Greek, but she lives in Australia, so her English has an Australian and Greek accent, and it's very interesting. Her cranial nerve exam and her migraine, like taking care of your migraine videos, are two of my all-time favorites that I can watch just at any point in time and feel comfortable. In one of her videos, she claims that she is where the cranial nerve exam started. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like it could be, because she was one of the older content creators, and I don't think she's actually creating anymore. But oh yeah, Calming Escape, Cassie, I love her stuff. I love her breathing patterns, and I love that she gets into her character and just really goes for it, and is who she wants to be. She's very convincing to me, so I love watching her stuff. I never know if I'm saying this right in my head, but Laura Lemericks, I think is how you say it. I think she's Scottish, not British. I'm not positive though. And she has an amazing accent. I just love listening to her stuff, and she was one of the first ASMR artists who I found and really, really, really grew to love. I love her eye exam videos. She does a massage in her older one, probably one of her first eye exams, and it's so relaxing. I love it. I also really like, I can't say her name either, but Olivia's Kisper, I think it is. Her accent really is very tingly for me too. She does some role plays and stuff that are a bit on the more experimental side, so I don't tend to gravitate towards those videos just because that's not what relaxes me, but I could pretty much listen to her talk about anything and feel calm. She has a very calming voice, even if her productions are extravagant for me sometimes. I'm trying to think. Peaceful Slumber ASMR. I also love her accent. I have like a lot of specific videos that I turn to rather than like whole ASMR artists, because I guess I'm kind of just specific or particular about what I like, and I think a lot of people are probably like that, because there's so many different rhythms and intonations that can be used, so everybody kind of, I think, likes different stuff. Of course, Maria has like, you know, obviously the thing that kind of helps her be at the top is that her accent and the way that she delivers her content is universally quite pleasing, I think. So she's one of the few people that I feel like has a reason for her universal notoriety based on like merit of ASMR quality. But I tend to like more like lo-fi ASMR, stuff that's not perfect and not super jazzed up, because I just like the more realistic feeling, and I try to create that in my ASMR often as well. Do you have a favorite video of your own that you enjoyed making? Yes, only because I haven't laughed at myself that hard in a long time, and I'm actually currently working on a blooper reel, and this moment is going to be in it, but there was just this dumb line that I was reading for a video that I was filming, and I couldn't understand why they worded it the way that they did, and it just made me cry laughing. Like, I was dying. I could not stop laughing, and even now when I watch the clip of that moment, it still makes me like tear up laughing, and I rarely have those moments at myself where I can really enjoy something that went wrong, I guess, or just laugh at myself. So that would definitely be it. I was reading the stress facts, so yeah. This is such a weird question to end on. If you could have a wrestling match against anyone, past or present, famous or not, who would it be and why? I don't really want to wrestle anyone. I don't really like touching people. but maybe I would just bring someone to the ring who I want to see and avoid the wrestling part. And actually, I have a pretty sound answer to this, because just the other day I was talking to someone and speculating who I would want to sort of meet, dead or alive, and I decidedly landed on William Shakespeare, because there's so much mystery in my mind surrounding who he was. If he was one single person, I would just love to meet this person. And if it is just one person, they would have to be one of the smartest people to ever have lived, and I would just love to talk and learn more about how their brain worked and how they came up with the things that they did and just what their perspective was. So I wouldn't really want to wrestle them, though. I don't really want to wrestle anyone, like I said. I'm sorry if that's not a great answer, but I can't even put myself in the mindset of imagining truly wrestling someone. So anyway, that was all the questions, and I hope that I didn't talk too much about random stuff. I hope that it was somewhat interesting, or just something you wanted to learn about me maybe anyway. And thank you guys so much for contributing, but also for watching and for tuning in, caring. I would love to answer any other questions you might have that are still burning you up. If you have any, feel free to just comment them below. And thank you guys for being my 5,000 subscribers. I sincerely care about and feel grateful for each of you, even if I don't personally know you all by name. The fact that you are my subscribers and that we are in each other's orbit in some way means a lot to me. So thank you for that, and I hope to see you in my next video.